Wildlings, and welcome back to the second episode in the Hedgewitch School series. So if you're not familiar with this, if you haven't seen the previous video that I uploaded last month, this is basically a series where I share with you guys what my practice is going to look like for the following few weeks. In these videos we will specify an animal and a plant spirit that I will be working with intensively for the following month, and then lay out some bits of homework in order to connect with them. And then as the end of the month approaches, I will basically sit down and start to do some reflections videos. So I put one up for the belladonna plant spirit and my experience working with her last month, as well as the falcon spirit and some of the other herbs that came through working with falcon. And so this is basically just an exchange of insights and information so that we can build together as a community and share our experiences. So as I share with you, I would love to hear the experiences that you have with the things that we set out in the video for the following month. Obviously you don't have to follow it month by month. If you find this video way into the future, then please just go through the episodes at your own pace, or pick and choose the ones that you're most drawn to. It's just a way of focusing our energy in our practice so that we can gain greater clarification and insights and build specific relationships up with the plant and the animal spirits. Also in the videos I will specify if there's any books or particular tarot or oracle or other divinatory tools that I'll be working with, or other shamanic tools that I'll be focusing on for that month as well. Any elemental work, any deity work, anything like that, I'll basically just weave throughout the videos as well. So if that interests you, please feel free to get involved in that also and share your experiences. But for this month, so as it currently stands, this is the month of February 2024. If you're watching this way into the future, hello, greetings. I hope you've been having a wonderful few years. But usually what I would normally do is I would pull from these two decks in here, and this is the Animal and the Plant Druid Oracle by Philip and Stephanie Carr-Garm. So usually I would pull from these, but this month, the last few weeks, when I've been tying up my previous practice of January, I've been having two specific spirits that have come through very strongly that I'm going to be working with for this month. So the first one is the animal spirit, and I've already pulled out the card that represents her, and it was the horse spirit. So this is the card from the Druid Animal Oracle that I just mentioned. So I've got a representation of her on my altar here. So the horse spirit is the one that I'm going to be focusing on for my animal medicine. So last month I think I said that I was going to try and journey with the animal, which last month was hawk or falcon, at least 2 times a week. I actually had a very, very stressful month in January, and I'm still sort of moving through quite a bit of stuff. So I really feel like for the month of February I need to just be very, very gentle with myself in my practice and to not take on too much. And I know that so many people out there have so much on their plates as well. So this month we're just going to focus on a much more gentle and less intensive practice with this work, because that's where I feel like I need to be. And so if this resonates for you, you're welcome to join me in that space of gentleness as well. So I think rather than me trying to journey twice a week every single week, which was what I did last month, or at least tried to anyway, I think I'm just going to work with the horse spirit when I feel her come into my day. Maybe that might be every other day, that might literally be one time throughout the month. I might just have one big journey with her. If you really enjoy the story time type experiences that I share with spirit work, then you can check out the Hedgewitch Diary series, where I've spoken about working with mugwort, with belladonna, with Anubis. So my aim will be to have another video that is either a part of the Hedgewitch Diary series where I'll reflect on my experiences with horse spirit at the end of the month. It will be a how-to video like I just posted about the falcon spirit. I share a bit more of a practical nature of like a how to work with the spirit and some insights that it's given me. So it'll be either or of those videos, and we can reflect on working with the horse and the messages that she shared with me. I'm not going to set a specific timetable to work with the spirit because, as I said, I really need to just take a bit more of a loose looser, more gentler approach this month. But that is my aim, so hopefully I'll have some interesting insights for you guys after working with her a bit more intensively. And I can already feel some of her energy starting to weave her way into my everyday, so I'm really excited to share it with you. Now, as I said before, usually I would then pull a plant spirit from this beautiful deck, and I have to show you it because it's so beautiful. But I'm not going to this week because this is the Druid Plant Oracle deck by Philip and Stephanie Cargam. But yeah, I'm not going to pull from one this time because I actually had a plant spirit approach me very strongly in... Oh, sorry, that's the blank card that comes in the deck, so you can choose whatever plant spirit. So I guess actually... And we got a blank card last month as well, and that's why we ended up working with Belladonna after I went into meditation. So I guess we're working with our own individual plant that we're choosing. So yeah, so I'm going to be working with the plant spirit Datura. I'm not quite sure however you want to pronounce that. But she's also known as Moonflower. She's also known as Thorn Apple. I have it written down there so I didn't forget because I love that name, Thorn Apple. But she is another one of the baneful poisonous plants, so she's a part of the poison path just like Belladonna was last month. But as I said, I usually pull from this deck when I'm focusing on plant spirit work because I specifically really try to focus on plants that are native to my heritage, to the Celtic islands. So when Datura, I need to figure out how I want to say that, but when she came through, she was coming through in quite a few of my dreams in that sort of liminal space just before I was rousing and waking up. But she came through quite clearly. And yeah, I'm going to focus on working with her. And she isn't a native plant to the UK. She is a tropical plant, but she was what came through. So there's clearly some medicine there that she is offering to me that I need to explore. And I am so happy with the Belladonna video that went up a couple of weeks ago where I shared my story with her, because that journey with Belladonna was so magical and so potent and so vivid. So please do go check that out if you're interested in hearing more of a story time aspect of working with spirits, because I basically take you through the entire journey, everything I saw, some new insights and information that she shared with me when I was in journey with her. So hopefully I will be able to share with you some interesting insights on working with Datura. I might just start calling her like Moonflower or Thorn Apple instead. Thorn Apple is actually one of the English names for her because she is a tropical plant but was obviously imported at some point in history. But yeah, hopefully I'll have some interesting insights to share with you in a similar format like the Belladonna video. So I will let you know how that goes. Again, I'm just going to take it quite loosely and just not put too much pressure on myself to try and journey so intensively like I would normally do in my practice. I'm going to find a moment throughout the month to journey with her and hopefully just try and go very deep, and we'll see what happens. As I said, we are all about gentleness in the month of February. My soul needs it. So usually I would have lots of books that I'm studying and researching, and actually I've been really finding such solace and comfort in reading this last month, but more so fictional books, just having a nice bit of escapism to get lost in a story. So I'm gonna, although it's not related to my practice, I'm gonna carry on giving time to just relax and read for the enjoyment of reading and trying not to do it in a research scholarly type way. But I think to obviously keep myself still connected to my reading, because I'll still want to be reading something that's to do with my practice, I'm going to carry on with this incredible book, which I love so much, which Catherine of Ye Old Witchcraft Shop, who I love so much and I connected with her on Instagram, go check out her store, her offerings are amazing. She put me onto this book because I said I was really looking for something a bit more meaty that would take me much deeper into a more scholarly way of learning about the faith of the Faery tradition in the Celtic Isles, which is where I live. So this is that history of Celtic shamanism that was present in the British Isles, which is very much how I focus my practice of hedge witchcraft. There's so much similarities in that. It's all basically the same thing, just different terms. But sorry, I just want to show you that because there's so many amazing things in this book. Like, there's so many rituals, amazing photos, and there's like a whole section on the oh god, I've just lost one of my markers. There's a whole section of history about the Faery faith across the British Isles, because it was something that was very, very prevalent here. I keep reading that, which I've been reading for the last few months. So it is a book that you can kind of read from cover to cover, but it's also one that I've been flicking back and forth through. But there's some really nice like folk tales woven through there as well. So although I'm not going to be intensively studying it, I'm just going to enjoy my time reading it because I really do like reading this book. And Robin Artisan, who's the author, I love his work, and I actually have 2 more of his books. I have The Resurrection of the Meadow and Cordron Rud, a companion of invocations and charms for the big book that I showed you first of all. These 2 here are actually specifically sorceress workings. So this is actual spellcasting, sorceress workings regarding the land spirits and the fae. So I'm really, really excited to delve into that. But I've done a couple of the practices out of this book so far, and I found them to be really awesome. So yeah, I'm just going to carry on making my way through this, but not putting too much pressure on myself to be, I guess, remembering huge amounts of information, because I feel like my brain just isn't in the right headspace to do that. Another book that I'm also going to carry on making my way through is a much more lighter book. This is The Green Hedgewitch by Ray Beth. So I got this a couple of months ago, and I've sort of gotten about just under halfway through. It's a very nice, gentle introduction to hedge witchcraft, with some elements of green witchcraft in there as well. But this idea of sort of crossing the hedge, conversing with the land spirits, building relationships with the land spirits, the fae. So this is a really nice, gentle introductory book. So when I was reading it, I was really enjoying it at the start, but then I started to feel like it was becoming quite repetitive. There's a lot of, like, I don't want to say not invocations, but there's a lot of sort of worded pieces that you can use to sort of tap into connecting with spirits of the land. And so there's some practical elements in this book as well. It just wasn't giving me anywhere near the same sort of substance as the Robert Artisan books were. So I kind of put it down for a little bit, but I think it's just really nice and gentle. And so I think I'll enjoy kind of just reading this sometimes before bed if I want a little bit of that witchy, magical connection sort of feel, but to not have to lift a massive heavy tome to bed and read anything that's too heavy if I'm quite tired at the end of the day. So I might just pick this up a few times throughout the month, we'll see. It is nice, easy reading. So if you are wanting something that's just nice introduction to this sort of work and that's gentle, then I do recommend this book. And with books as well, I've really reignited my love for podcasts. I used to listen to loads of podcasts when I was on my way to work, when I was working outside of the home, and then I've just not really had any on recently. I think I might do a few podcasts for the month of February as well. So one that I can recommend is Diary of a Folk Witch podcast. She just started following me on Instagram the other day as well, actually, and I had a little fangirl moment. So if you're watching this, I love your stuff, you're awesome. And I've listened to most of her episodes on podcasts when I was working outside in the big wide world when I wasn't working from home. But she has such a lovely, relaxing voice, and her podcasts are just so relaxing and gentle. So I'm gonna carry on listening to her stuff. I also love the Modern Fairy Sightings podcast. I was trying to remember the title then. That podcast is amazing, and again, I used to listen to that all the time, so I'm going to start listening to that again. That is basically people sharing their experiences of meeting with the fae or land spirits or spirits that they've encountered that they think might be from that realm of existence, and it's just amazing, and I love it. And I love just pottering around the house with a cup of tea and just doing my little tasks, and then just bringing in a little bit of the magic with those podcasts playing in the background. So that's something that I'm going to be doing as well. Now, in terms of tarot and oracle work, I'm not sure how intensively I'm going to be doing that stuff this month. I obviously do my daily draws. I don't do them every single day at the minute because, as I said, with all the stress, but it is something that I'm always connected with. I've been doing it for almost 10 years now, so that is always going to be a part of my practice. But in terms of actually studying decks, last month I was focusing on quite a few different decks. There was the Murder of the Crows, the Dreamkeeper's Tarot, and then the Slavic Legends Tarot. And I was specific, oh, and the Queen Mab Oracle, and I had some amazing experiences learning with those decks, and I really enjoyed it. So I might still continue to pull daily draws from a variety of those and some of the other ones in my collection, but in terms of like specific focused tarot and oracle work with specific decks, I'm not going to do anything intense. However, I say that, but let me introduce you to the Arthurian Tarot. I'm very, very excited for this one, guys. So I'm not going to enter into a really intensive study with this just yet, because this actually has its own focused homework, or course is the word that I'm looking for. This has its own focused course that you do with the deck, and it's called the Hallow Quest. So I saw this on YouTube somewhere. I think she was called Candy Soil and Soul or something like that, and I'd never seen it before, and when she spoke about it I was like, oh my god, that's perfect. I need to do that, because when I'm in winter, I like winter, autumn, that sort of time of year, the darker part of the year, I really like to work with the darker deities, shadow work, all of those kinds of things. But as soon as it gets to sort of springtime, I'm a spring baby, spring and summer, I feel so deeply drawn and connected to the Arthurian mythology, obviously with living here in the British Isles. So when I saw that there was a Arthurian focused tarot deck that had an actual course that you could follow in your own time, step by step, because I love a structured course, I got very excited. So this actually begins, because it actually has the specific dates of when you work through it, this actually begins end of March, but it recommends, because there's a part 1 before you actually start going through the cards, because basically the Hallowed Quest is split into the different seasons, and it takes you through connecting with each one of the cards in the tarot deck day by day. You spend a few days with each card across an entire year. That's all based around the Arthurian mythology, so you explore those landscapes that's tied to that pantheon, that mythology, and obviously that is my landscape here, so it's something I feel so deeply in my bones. But before you start that, which starts, I think it's March 21st, so 10 days before my birthday, you do this sort of preliminary work. So you spend a couple of weeks going through 5 lessons, and you don't do any of the card work, you just prepare to do the card work later on. So it's mainly meditating, and they recommend starting that in the middle of February, so that is what I'm going to do. So it's not that I'm doing heavy card study for this month, it's going to be more meditation focused, but it is in preparation for exploring this, and I'm really excited because I'm going to definitely do some videos on my insights that I get when I work with the Hallow Quest, so that will be a whole thing on the channel as well, so I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you. The final deck that I might pull from is the Solitary Witch Oracle, and I haven't really sat down and properly been trying to connect with this deck because I've been focused on some of my other decks. However, quite a few evenings before I've settled down to go to bed, when I've just been feeling really heavy and weighted and just not feeling good, this deck has been calling to me, and I have been pulling from her just one card, and I've never really asked a question or anything, I've just sort of felt her calling to me. But I will just, before bed sometimes when I can hear her singing, I will just pull a card from her, and I don't even have to ask anything, as I said, but the messages come through really accurately. It's like a card will come out and it will just address things that I've been moving through that day, and it has such a lovely, gentle, mystical, whimsical, just enchanting feel to the deck. and it's just like so comforting. It's like that little dose of magic, you know, when life just gets really heavy and just bleh. And you just need like some fairy goodness, you need enchanted princesses. It just warms my little girl heart, literally. I love it so much. So as I said, I haven't worked intensively with this deck at all, but she's very much come through sometimes before I've gone to bed, and I found her a really comforting tool to use, actually. So I think I'm not sure if I would use her, well, no, I guess I might use her as a daily draw, but there's something very nighttime about this deck. I mean, you can see it all in the imagery, like it just is very dreamlike, and I really like pulling a card before bed and looking at the imagery because it's so rich and vibrant, and I think it's just such a beautiful image to hold in your mind as you drift off to sleep that evening, especially if you've had a difficult day. So that is pretty much going to be my practice for February, guys. That probably seems like a lot, but I'm not going to be doing everything every single day, obviously. Like, I need to kind of stretch everything out and be a lot more gentle and just not do my practice as intensively as I would normally love to, because I just don't have the space or the energy to hold for it right now. But I'm still going to remain linked to these tools and just try and have some sort of a structure, because I live my practice every day. I live and I breathe it. This is my way of life. It's how I wake up every single day and move through my day. It's how I go to sleep, and then in my dream world as well. Like, I just live and breathe it. But in terms of like a structured study format, which I do enjoy just to keep me on track, I just feel like it needs to be looser this month. So I have themes, I have things that I'm going to explore, but I'm not going to set specific homework like I did last month for myself, where it was like, right, twice a week, and then I was like ticking it off when I could do things. I'm not going to use that format this time around. So I hope you could take some inspiration from that, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up and join the journey on the channel. My Etsy shop is obviously open as well, where I do commission spirit dolls and offer all of my readings of a whole variety over there, so you can go and have a look. And hopefully I will see you in my next video, guys. Bye.